So I found this Negative Nancy review of Endless Online. Some of the shit that he said in this video, I decided I just had to go ahead and make a response video for this. I'll leave a link to the original video in the description. Well, anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this batshit crazy experience here.
The first thing you'll notice about this game is the downloading process. For most games, this means pressing a few buttons and waiting for the game to download. Oh, but no! Endless Online is far more complex. Not only has the website not been maintained, but you can't even download the game from it.
You are actually correct, and the reason that you cannot download the game from the website is because the official game no longer exists. It was shut down by its creator, Voltar, because the server, the virtual private server, VPS, that he was running it on, was compromised by someone using a Gmail address who actually took control of the server and destroyed the database. So that's the reason you can't download it. The official game doesn't exist.
You have to go to an external source to get a link, but you know what they say, you shouldn't judge a book by its downloading process. The game itself is a prime example of a mystery game done right, throwing yourself into a world without any idea what's going on. The game soon becomes a survival game as you punch pigs and craft— no, this is not Minecraft. Unfortunately, despite being good at both of these things, the game itself is an MMORPG.
There were quite a few things planned for this game that were never implemented. Endless Online itself actually never got out of alpha stage testing. It was very early in its development, actually. It was just opened to the public for alpha testing. So there are a lot of things in the game that were never implemented, a lot of things that are not complete, and that's the reason for that.
So these things really shouldn't be occurring. The game doesn't do much in the way of teaching new players. The controls, mechanics, and features all have to be learned by fucking around until something works.
The good old days of retro gaming. The days when you actually had to figure shit out. Oh, woe is me. How bad it is that you have to actually use your fucking brain instead of having everything handed to you on a silver fucking platter.
Until getting the footage for this video, I still didn't know how to get rid of the captain's boots. Even the wiki guide doesn't do much in the way of help. I spent an hour looking for a weapon shop only to give up because I couldn't find it.
Even if you were able to find the weapon shop, I don't advise buying weapons from the shop in this game. It's better to just go out, grind until you've got enough gold, and buy a weapon from another player. A decent weapon, like maybe an Ultima sword, or a Twin Blades, or a Saw sword, because those are going to do much better for you than anything you're going to find in the weapon shop. So really there's no point in looking for a weapon shop, just to throw that out there. Also, to address the captain's boots concern that you had, as far as the captain's boots, they're only really used for a singular quest that's not repeatable. So once you've turned in one pair of captain's boots to the captain outside the city of Avon, you might as well junk any additional copies you have of it because they're completely useless at that point.
The problem is that it appears that the developers just didn't care, or they were just so bad at programming and planning the game.
It may just be speculation, but there's a pretty good sign that the developers stopped caring after a while. I know there were a lot of falling outs with the admin team, and the original creator lost quite a few of his admins. And you're right, there was not a lot of development done to the game because the admins just basically didn't give a shit anymore. But just to clarify, the admins that we have on Endless now are not the same team of admins that were on Endless Online originally. Those are all gone, as well as the official game. They no longer exist.
Everything in the game is faulted. Why spend so much time creating a process to allow players to marry each other, while yet having such obvious balancing issues?
Because the original intent of Endless Online was not to have it just be one of those games where you go out, level up, and grind. You could live as just a regular citizen if you wanted to. You didn't have to be a hero. That was the whole stick of the original game. You can use it as a chat service if you want. So of course they're going to implement things like marriage that adds another level of depth to living as a citizen in this online world. For role players, man, come on.
You know you have some balancing issues when fighting a sheep is more difficult than a giant snake.
The snakes were implemented into the game far earlier than the sheep. You are correct that the NPCs were not completely balanced. Now, they did start balancing the NPCs right before they stopped developing the game. They got them not even halfway balanced, and shit just went downhill from there. So I can agree that the NPCs are not balanced, but the reason the sheep are so much stronger is because the snakes were implemented far earlier in the development than the sheep were.
But then again, I can't complain. A flower with legs is tougher than both of them put together. But it isn't just the balancing that is a major issue. The graphics are without a doubt one of the worst parts of the game. To summarise the graphics in a few words, it's shit. I understand that it was created many years ago, but still, that was many years ago.
Endless was designed with the intent of having low resolution graphics that didn't take up many system resources in order to be played on low-end computers, and it still maintains that. You can play Endless on a computer with really shitty specs and it will run just fine. That is the reason why there's no need to overhaul and update the graphics. It's designed to run on low-end computers for people who don't have access to higher-end computing power.
And the graphics still haven't been updated. Although, then again, they just wanted to keep true to the spirit of the website. One prime example of how shit the graphics are, if you can't already figure out from all the shots I've already shown, is the disco. Have a bad design on top of glitchy mechanics and an MS Paint job, and it produces the least fun disco you've ever been to.
Well, it's entirely subjective. I don't know why you care about something as trivial as the disco. While I respect your right to have an opinion, I don't really think it matters.
On the topic of graphics, occasionally there'll be a lighting glitch.
There cannot be a lighting glitch because Endless Online does not use a lighting mechanic.
And what the fuck is with these grids? Why would anyone want to use this feature?
Because when you're on a quest looking for a specific NPC and the NPC is hidden behind fringe, you can turn on this feature to find the NPC's marker on the map and then turn it off once you've located the NPC. Quite simple, really.
And what makes matters worse is that the tab is right next to important tabs, so you'll constantly bring up the tab mistakenly.
That kind of sounds like a personal problem. It sounds to me like you just need to aim your pointer better.
As I've said, the programming of the game is really focused upon the important issues, like being able to get married to your significant other, rather than fixing that sign you get trapped in.
That sign is just a chair tile being used instead of a wall tile, but I happen to know that there are quite a few players who enjoy being able to sit on that sign, so I really don't see why it causes that much of a problem. Just don't walk into signs.
But perhaps I'm being a bit too harsh on the game. It is an MMO, which means that a part of the game is focused around your interactions with...
I have no idea what you were going to say because you cut yourself off. You might want to double check your videos the next time you edit one to make sure that you're not cutting out pieces of what you're saying, because then it just doesn't make any sense.
If you are the type of person who hates getting PK'd, then I might have some good news for you. I don't think you can kill other players.
There are designated maps with PK capability. You just have to find them.
And I say that because there are never any players to test killing anyone else.
You cut yourself off again. Also, you walked by an entire group of players standing there earlier in the video. One of them was me, actually, so I don't know if you were just too busy recording to notice those players, but they were definitely there.
One time I went to the server and I found that I was the only person in the world playing at that time. Usually there's about 20 players on the server at any given time, though.
Depends on the time of day. Also, you actually showed that there were 60 players online in the video while you were saying that the average is 20, so yeah, there are more people on depending on what time of day you log on.
Although, even if you can PK others, you haven't got much to worry about. All the players are pretty...
All the players are pretty what? You cut yourself off again. This is like the third or fourth time that you've cut yourself off and left the video with an incomplete thought only to skip on to more shit. Again, I respect your opinion, but it seems like this is just a bashing video to bash Endless Online. It does that on its own enough. It really doesn't need to be bashed. But again, you have the right to think whatever you want to think, but I do think you are a little harsh on your review. Thus, the reason for this response video.
Perhaps since to actually enjoy the game, you have to be pretty fucked up in the head.
Well, I'll give you that one. I guess I am pretty fucked up in the head.
But the players will show you stuff and let you join their guilds. All the gear on me is just shit I was given by a stranger. But then again, how nice the people are shouldn't be the only contributor to how good a game is. And if the external sources are the only good part of the game, then the game has to receive a 2 out of 10. How did it get a score that high? Mostly because finding glitches was actually pretty fun.
Well, it looks like you've cut yourself off again. Thank goodness we're getting close to the end of this video. Yeah. This has been an interesting little experience here. So you finish it off with a porn collection deletion joke. Ha 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 ha. That's so funny. No, not really.